everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Liv Loves Literature, also known as Morgan Hill. And yes, there are a couple changes. Let's address them. Number one, of course, my hair. Your girl got braided up. Lighting. The lighting is different, okay? It is extremely gray outside. And I got a new light. I'm so limited sometimes when it comes to filming because I can only film when the conditions are perfect outside, and I'm like, that's just not realistic. We gotta grind it out. So yes, we're testing it out with this new light. I love it. I got it from Amazon. But anyways, today we're gonna be talking about unpopular book opinions. Yes, I am a person who has a lot of unpopular opinions, and I'm not ashamed about it. I feel like as a child, I always had unpopular opinions. Like as a child, I got in trouble with my kindergarten teacher because I was telling the other kids that Santa Claus wasn't real, and she didn't want me to crush. She didn't want me to crush other people's dreams, so she called my mom. But anyways, yeah, so basically, like, I'm not afraid to show my unpopular opinions. However, when someone shares their unpopular opinions, I feel like as a teacher, I need to break it down for you. When someone shares their unpopular opinions, it doesn't mean that they are telling you that you are disgusting for disagreeing with them. However, maybe some people want you to, hey, if you don't share my opinion, you're ugly and disgusting. But that is not my goal here, okay? That is not my goal here. I am just sharing with you some book opinions I have that might be unpopular. That's kind of the point of the phrase unpopular book opinion, because you know it's going to be unpopular, but you're still sharing it anyway. So pat on the back for those of us brave enough to do that. Anyways, is my Star Wars like shirt hoodie thing like so cute? I love it. I love it. I love it. Anyways, let's get started. So number one, sometimes romantasy is overrated. I know you're talking to a girly who thinks that Akamath by Sarah J. Maas is one of the best books ever written, and you cannot convince me otherwise. I've seen some people say that her writing is not that good, and I just simply disagree. I really disagree, especially when it comes to Throne of Glass. Throne of Glass is one of the best fantasy series I've ever read in my life, and I will stand on that. It is genuine, it's original, it's so good. Like, it's so good. But and Throne of Glass series I feel like is not romantasy. That's why I love it. But I also love ACOTAR. And ACOTAR is kind of like the first of its kind. I feel like it was the first to really be branded as romantasy. Because the romance is very important in this story, I feel. Like, way more important than Throne of Glass. But I think it's really just because it's a new adult series and Throne of Glass is a young adult series. So I really feel like there's a disconnect that people don't understand. Like, whenever I read ACOTAR, I knew that it was new adult, even though I was reading it at 15. I knew that it was new adult, and I felt like it made sense that that type of content was in the book because it's made for adults. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes when we read labels, stuff makes sense. But anyways, yeah, romantasy is oftentimes overrated, man. Like, you're gonna see me flip my hair around a lot because I just got these yesterday, so. And I've never had this color before. But anyways, yeah, romantic, because I can tell when a fantasy is like set up. I don't want it to be set up like a romantasy. I feel like you know that the ACOTAR series is a romantasy because of what everybody else has said about it. But if you went into ACOTAR blind, which is impossible to do these days, but if you went into ACOTAR blind, you wouldn't be able to tell it's a romantasy right off bat. I feel like it has an actual storyline. Like, she's kind of in her Katniss Everdeen. She's hunting for the family. I'm forgetting her. Oh, Feyre. Feyre is on her Katniss Everdeen stuff. She's hunting for the family. She got a little boo on the side, but we don't really know too much about him. And then she's hunting and she accidentally kills a creature from the Fey world. So now she has to, the fact that I remember the plot and I haven't read this book since 2019. That's crazy. But that's how, yeah. And because she killed him, then now she has to go and live with Tamlin, who is like the High Lord of the Summer Court, I believe. He's the High Lord of the Summer Court. And it's kind of like a Beauty and the Beast retelling type vibe, whatever. I just kind of felt like it was not it really was not. You wouldn't be able to tell it's romantic. A lot of fantasy these days, I open it, the first page, I'm like hit with like some intense sexual something, and I'm just like, okay, what? Like, what is going on? Like, it's like, just please stop. Please stop. Please stop. And this is not to say that I love romantasy. I absolutely adore romantasy. I just wish that it wasn't so in its own category, like, oh my gosh, this romantasy, because then like the book becomes more about the romance than the actual plot, and I need plot. Like, plot is what makes the romance better. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, we're about to die, let's love each other. Like, that is what makes a romance something, is the plot. Okay, I'm done. When it comes to regular romances should not be longer than 400 pages. Okay, 420, whenever you have, 420, it needs to be wrapped up. It needs to be wrapped up. Why do we have 500, 600 page romances? Like, I don't want to name any names. But I had a book on my list, a very, very popular book on my list that's about 600 pages, and I just couldn't do it. Like, I just couldn't do it. I don't understand why it was 600 pages. And maybe I'll get around to it one day in my life, but that day is not today. Yeah, because when it goes on for too long, it's like, okay, what are we talking about right now? But sometimes, like I said, it can work. Like, I've read like 450 page romances where like, but only if it's a Jennifer Hartman. If it's a Jennifer Hartman, that's because I know that the plot is plotting and that there's like a lot of different stuff going on. Then I'll accept it. But otherwise, okay. Romances should not lead with spice. Oh my gosh. Like, I tried reading a romance. Like I said, I will not name any names. I try to keep it positive on this channel. I will not name any names. But I tried reading this romance last week, and oh my gosh, the dialogue was like so it was like cringy spice, very cringy spice right off bat, and I don't like that. I need us to work. If there's gonna be spice, we have to work our way there. We can't just be slapped in the face with it like the first chance we get. Like, I was not a fan. I was not a fan of that. We need to build the plot and actually build the romance before we get there. Like, I don't, too much of that is like a no for me. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Okay. Next, dialogue cannot be cringy. Oh my gosh. There's a lot of dialogue about how people only read dialogue in books. I don't even know if that's true. I'm not even gonna dive into that, but it made me think of it. But speaking of the dialogue cannot be cringy. Like, also in the book I was just talking about that I tried to read last week, the dialogue was so cringy. Like, ew. Like, it did not give that these were adults. It gave that these were 10-year-olds. And I was just like, no. Like, it's gonna be a no for me. It's really gonna be a no. So yeah, like, oh, Todd's gonna ask you out tonight. Like, I don't know. Like, I need the story to be like I hate mentioning this book every single time, but like, I have to. But like, Aria by Jennifer Hartman, I don't know. Like, there are some romance authors that just really know how to create like a sense that these characters are normal people, but also this is an extraordinary story or an extraordinary romance. Like, I feel like some authors are really able to really do that, and some authors are not. And this is the second book I've DNF'd by this author because the dialogue was just cringy. No. Number 5, I feel like it's okay to DNF a book, period. Okay, I've DNF'd many a book. Because if I'm not feeling it and I try to force my way through it, that's going to put me into a slump, and that's going to push me further away from reading. So why would I even do something like that? Like, I don't know. It doesn't even make sense. But like, if you feel the need to DNF a book, then do it. Like, who is someone gonna send you to prison? Is someone gonna send you to prison if you DNF a book? I don't think so. I mean, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, like, if you're not feeling it, then just stop. Like, and there have been books that I DNF'd and then I've come back to them like a year or two later and finished them. Like, that happened to me with Children of Virtue and Vengeance. Was that the name of it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I started that like March 2023 and I finished it I think May 2024. Like, I literally had my bookmark smack dab in the middle for an entire year, and I came back and finished it. Like, I came back and finished it. So it doesn't always mean like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna finish the book, but it's just like, you know, if you're not feeling it right now, close it up. And then last but not least, age gap romances. Ew. Ew. Now, there are some, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh, this kind of leads into another one that I actually forgot to add. Just give me a second. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, age gap romances. The next two that I'm talking about, they have different stipulations when it comes, I don't even know if that's the right word, but it's different from romance and like fantasy or some sort of adventure genre. Because here's the thing. Of course, like in Twilight, for example, okay, Edward is obviously way older than Bella, because he's a freaking vampire. So obviously that's kind of different, even though I was kind of Team Jacob. But anyways, yeah, like, that's kind of different because he is, I mean, there's no way for there to not be an age gap if you are dating an immortal person. Like in ACOTAR, Feyre, and I'll leave it blank because me talking about who her lovers are is kind of a spoiler, so I'm just kind of gonna leave it open. But Feyre and her lovers, whoever they are, there's obviously, if they're part of the Fey world, they're obviously way older than her. So, you know, like stuff like that. Like, that's, I feel like there are different rules in fantasy, and yeah, there are different rules in fantasy than there are in realistic romance, because it's realistic romance. So yeah, in a realistic romance, I don't want to read about someone who's my dad's age with someone who is my age. Like, I just don't want to. I don't want to. And you can't make me feel bad about that. You can't make me feel weird. I don't like it. I don't support it in books or in real life. And that's just that. Like, I won't be a part of that. So, yeah. So yeah, age gap romances, ew, hate it. I will avoid it at all costs. And then next, reverse grumpy sunshine only. Okay, so I'm learning, like I said, I'm new to this like modern booktube, book talk world, even though I don't have TikTok. But I'm new to the modern book world, internet book world, and I'm learning like tropes and these different kind of things. Because like I said, back in my day, we only had booktube and we just kind of whatever. But yeah, I learned about Grumpy Sunshine, and I found out that I love reverse Grumpy Sunshine. I think it's because of how I am as a person. As sunshiny as I am, I have a dark side. No. It's giving Anakin Skywalker. Yeah, as like sunshiny as I am, I tend to want someone who is, I don't know, I tend to have a baseline of grumpiness sometimes. And I need someone to be my sunshine. Okay, so I think that's kind of where that comes from. I as I do my self-analysis, as I do, I'm realizing that I'm like, I think that's the reason why. Anyways, so yeah, I really like reverse grumpy sunshine in realistic romance. Like, I need the girl to be like, boy bye, and the guy to be like, yes, yes, yes. Like, you'll notice a trend. Okay, that was kind of creepy. Yes, yes, yes. like a consensual type. Like sometimes you can be in a friendly, let me tread lightly here, in a friendly consensual manner you can try to pursue someone. Okay, anyways, that's, you'll find that trend in like my favorite romance books, like in both Aria by Jennifer Hartman and Catch the Sun by Jennifer Hartman. The girls are definitely the grumpy ones. And when I say grumpy, I don't even really mean grumpy, because they both are facing trauma, okay? Intense trauma. So they actually have a reason to be standoffish. But, yeah. And then the guys in the story are like, no, like, come on, like, I'll be good for you. Like, give me a try. Like, I'm gonna love you through your pain. Like, that type of thing. Like, I love that. Even in, like, I finally realized why I like Starstruck. Yes, that Disney movie. Why I like Starstruck so much is because, Sterling Knight's character is definitely the sunshine, and that other little girl, Davina from Vampire Diaries, from freaking Originals. I've never known what her real name was, but I'm gonna put her picture right here. She was so freaking grumpy. She and him invented the grumpy sunshine. They invented grumpy sunshine because he was so like nice to her the whole time, and she was so mean to him. Like, y'all need to rewatch that movie. She was so mean, like so mean. But anyways, I like reverse grumpy sunshine only. I don't like it when the male is I don't like it when the male is the grumpy one. That does not appeal to me. It turns me all the way off. I have never been a fan of, oh, he's so like dark and mysterious and cold and he doesn't talk to anyone, but he loves me somehow. Like, that, miss me with that. Like, I do not like that. That does not appeal to me. I need to be the standoffish one and you come get me. Like, if the guy is standoffish and he low-key acts like he hates you, I'm not reading that. I am not reading that. So, period. But the thing is, it's different in fantasy, okay? It's different in fantasy. Because typically, the male has a reason why he might be standoffish. Like, he's probably the high lord of his Fae kingdom, and he may have been tortured for 50 years under a mountain. If you know, you know. But yeah, like, maybe he's been like, he has experienced some sort of abuse, or like is in a power struggle, or like he's a king and he's trouble. Like, in a fantasy, it makes sense for the male to maybe be a little more standoffish and kind of like have a lot of baggage and a lot of trauma. I'm not saying it's bad for people to wear their baggage and trauma on their sleeves. I'm just telling you what I like to read about, okay? But yeah, I understand it better in fantasy, and I kind of will accept it. Like, for like freaking and this isn't even a spoiler. I feel like we know this by now in Fourth Wing, which, by the way, it is. I'm filming this on January 12th. Onyx Storm comes out next week? Onyx Storm. I need to refresh my memory. What the heck even happened in Fourth Wing and Iron Flame? I wrote like 6 pages worth of notes when I read those, and I also have a video that never made it to YouTube. So I'm gonna watch that and I'm gonna review my notes before Onyx Storm comes out. But anyway, speaking of Fourth Wing, like Xaden Ryerson and Violet, like they're both kind of not really sunshiny, but like he definitely is like standoffish and like, you know, but it works because it's fantasy. That's my point. Like, in fantasy, I feel like they have a reason to really be, and in realistic fiction, I don't care. So anyways, those are my unpopular bookish opinions. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you can maybe relate, or if you don't relate, what are your unpopular bookish opinions? And yeah, keep reading and keep being great. Bye, I'll see you in the next video.